He's located in Davidson, North Carolina, while serving all of North and South Carolina. He is the Mortgage Planner, the Carolina's #1 mortgage radio. Premium lending experience along with mortgage planning. Ranked top in the nation, here is your host, Brad Roche.
Welcome to The Plan. This is Brad Roche, the Mortgage Planner. 704-412-2727 is your direct dial, or go to fortheplan.com. The number 4, or you can spell it. Good morning, Jacob, co-piloting the show with me. How are you?
Good morning. Doing great.
Let's rock and roll, brother. We got a good show ahead of us. We've got this show's title. You want to tell them?
Yeah. Most Googled mortgage questions.
Yeah.
Answered.
Not Bing.
Yeah, not Bing, not
Yahoo,
Yep.
not anybody else. We're going Google.
Only Google.
Maybe we should have just chatted it. GPT.
Yeah.
You
most
probably could do
questions.
that, or you can listen to the show.
Yeah, true.
Well, listen in. So we're going to uncover some of the questions, and some of them to me were kind of basic. Some of them were actually really good, and there are some big differences when you're looking to buy a house. So we're going to cover those today on the show. But the headlines, brother, I like the headlines.
Yeah. Beautiful headline.
Sound better than they are.
From our newsletter last Friday, we have a newsletter that goes up. Be sure to check it out, fortheplan.com. This week's, or I guess this past week's headliner said, very calm week for rates despite hitting new 6-month low.
6-month what?
Low.
Finally.
We bring some good news.
Now here, let's bring reality to this. See these people on the fence, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to wait till rates come down. So they're down a quarter. Let's call it a quarter, roughly, right?
Yep.
So $100,000 you're borrowing. It's $20 a month.
Wow.
Meaning, wow, big? Or wow, that ain't that much. That's less than the pizza I just ordered.
Yeah, that's my Netflix subscription.
That's what I'm saying, man. So it sounds better than it is. Right direction. A lot of people are probably waiting for a little. Now that's on 100,000. So if you were doing 300,000, it'd be $60.
Yeah.
Would be just be door dashing it because they add the fees on her.
Gym membership.
Yeah,
things
right.
like that. Nothing too much.
Now, when we get a point, now we're talking.
Yep.
And it starts getting more. So you have to be cautious. I think there's a lot of people in our business right now who may be encouraging refinancing. You want to get with a professional and really have that dissected and compared and get a plan together. You don't have to jump so fast. We're going in the right direction.
I completely agree. I do think that there is opportunities to refinance out there. I think some people, we peaked out around 8%.
Yeah.
So,
there's time to do it. There is. And I have a guy that emailed in that said, hey, I've got about $30,000 in debt, veteran. He owes like $200 on the house. I looked it up and we helped him. It's now worth $500,000.
Wow.
But he's at 2 point something, 2.9. I think he was at 2.8, something like that. So his rate being really low, $30,000. You know what he was paying on the $30,000? I don't remember what it was. I should have brought that with me, but, the 30th, it was two loans, one for $20,000, one for about $9,000, right? And he was paying about $780.
Wow.
I know. And I don't know if it was a car loan that he's getting ready to pay off, and we hadn't gotten that far. But we just looked at even a home equity line of credit, HELOC, second mortgage, lots of different names, and part of that has to do with how they're repaid. But $280 was his new payment.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good move.
I keep wowing you today. You know that, right?
We didn't talk about that. That was before we got on the show. You didn't tell me that, so I am surprised by that.
Well, so we looked at now. Here's some fun part. We ran that instead of just covering his 30,000. I ran it at 40. That payment was at 40. There it is again.
Yeah.
Wow. You see
An extra $10,000 cash out.
If you want to be wowed, just like Jacob, 704-412-2727, there may be some options. It may make sense for a debt consolidation to do the first mortgage. But, if you're just after the better rate, have someone monitoring it. A great thing I would encourage you to do, you'll see the average rates posted on our newsletter. So listen, go fortheplan.com. Get the newsletter dialed in. So why don't we cover update while you're listening, what rates have been doing with this little dip. 30-year fixed rate now is coming in where?
6.89. And I wanted to highlight on VA. You just brought up that VA example there. We can get into the fives now. We're just over 6. So 6.34 is where VA is coming in right now.
Man, that's really strong. Right?
Yeah.
A lot of people. So if you're a veteran listening, there's a lot of benefits. Deal with someone who's done a veteran loan. And I'll tell you that because there's tricks to veteran loans that you can do to benefit your situation. We've helped a lot of people, even if they're carrying $5,000-6,000 credit card debt, roll that right into the purchase is one trick, I would call it, that helps you save a couple $100 a month in the minimum payment, like this guy was talking about with the HELOC, and you still get a purchase. That's more purchasing power if we structure it right.
On one deal a while back that me and you worked on, if you recall, it was maybe a few years ago, we actually paid off a car.
Yeah, right. And what would you remember what the payment was on it?
I want to say it was $500 a month, but
I think that's
they were coming to the end.
Best kept secrets.
Yeah,
rolling in debt on a VA purchase,
and that's the only product that you can do it on.
That's crazy.
It's another benefit of being VA.
I had one realtor. She said, "Are you sure that's legal?" I said, "Yeah, it is. I've done it,
not many know about it.
Well, it doesn't. Well, it can benefit you. Should you do it? It depends on the situation, what you owe. But for this guy, he's going to prepay the crap out of that loan. He's going to have a $200 80 payment, pocket about $6-7 for upgrades to his home. He wanted to do a few things. He's going to also have that $30,000 or just under $30,000 paid off in debt that was running him about $750 a month. So he has an extra $400 a month off the interest only. That's the trick, though, right? Don't pay interest only just on it. So he's going to compound this, have it gone. We're putting a plan together for him.
Yeah. Make sure you're prepaying on it. We'll get a little bit more into that in the show. But I was thinking before we got on here, that's like making minimum payments to the credit card. You definitely want to go more than minimum payments.
And especially with the savings. I always say, well, take the savings. You could do it with pop, bubblegum, and beer. You've heard me use that line several times, which means just blowing the money. Or you can do something useful with it, and it adds up so much. And we're going to talk about that. Before we get to some of the questions that are on here, let's cover a little bit more in interest rates. 15-year, a little bit better. 15-year conventional loan sitting at 6.32. Not too bad. So I think it's actually pretty good. Average rates, for the U.S. ever is like 6.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're there on a 15-year.
And on that's actually the same exact rate for FHA too.
Dave Ramsey tell you take a 15-year.
Oh, well.
Radio guru.
Yeah, I have
He also
heard that.
tell you got to put 20% down. I don't agree. Being in the business, I don't agree with some of that.
I think that it puts you more in the driver's seat for a 30-year.
Why?
You can prepay on it.
Yeah, why doesn't he say that?
I don't know.
Like what? Well, because you get a lower rate. Yeah, you get an effective rate. See, do you know what an effective rate is, right? And that's you rerun the number. If you're prepaying on it, you're not paying as much interest.
And also, it's about double of a mortgage. I mean, you're cutting it in half. So you're saving what is that? 3/4 of a point, but at the same time, it's double the payment. I don't think a lot of people think about.
And you could do this on your own scale. The key would be being disciplined to prepay enough on it to get to the plan you want, whether it's 20-year, 15, whatever. Now, here's why I disagree. I'm not that old, but I've lived enough to know that beep happens.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like when that does, you do have an option to fall back on that lower payment if you ever needed to.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully it wouldn't come to that, but...
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, that's what I was saying. It puts you more in the driver's seat. You could schedule a payment for, let's call it $3,000 a month. Or if something happens, lose a job, something like that, you can tone it back to the minimum payment and stop prepaying on it for a little bit.
Which the minimum, we're talking about a 30-year fix. We're just talking about not paying it off as early.
Yeah.
Now, I know it costs more interest long run. I get where that's coming from. But you do have to prepare, right? So if savings is fat, there's a lot of factors that come into this. If the savings account's huge, you don't, it's 15-year fine. You got a backup plan.
Yeah.
But first-time home buyer getting into it, I don't want to strap you. House poor is what you'd call that. Yeah, better deal, house poor. And I also know for a fact that when you put money down, I'm going to charge you to get it back. Meaning a cash out refi. You're going to pay costs to get it back, and that adds up. So make the right decision, know about a recast, know what a plan is, right? 704-412-2727. Go to fortheplan.com. We've got your plan there, and I've got a special tool to share with you that's going to be free when we come back. You're listening to The Plan.
Welcome back. You're listening to The Plan. This is Jacob Roche with Brad Roche, the mortgage planner. This is For the Plan, 704-412-2727 or fortheplan.com. Right before we left, we were discussing interest rates, where we're at currently. Now we're going into Google's most asked questions.
Yeah, and we led to it. You don't want to get to my free stuff, huh?
Oh, yeah, I did.
You were going to blow over it. Like, man, what? Who's mortgage guy giving away free stuff? Well, first thing is go to fortheplan.com. This is where we have everything parked that we're talking about on the show. One thing in particular, check out Summer Series. Pretty cool stuff. If you own a home, thought about buying a house, this is cool stuff that you can do.
Yeah.
And it's cheap stuff you can do to the house to make it, improvements done to it, easy modifications. We've done some shows on that. You can log on. It's free. I'm not going to hawk you. We're not going to call you in 24/7. However, you will be more prepared when you get your next mortgage because we'll have you on our email list and you'll be able to take a look at some of the information we're sending out, like the free stuff I'm about to talk about.
Let's do it.
What do you
got? What's free for us?
Well, if you want to, you can log on fortheplan.com right now. If you own a house, I want to talk about one question. When we look at these notes on the most Googled mortgage questions in 2024, there wasn't one about how do I kick the mortgage's ass or how do I win, right? You know, and that's what I doubt they're going to ask you the way I just said it, right? I know you're smiling at me funny, right? Nobody's going to type that in, man. What's wrong with you? No, my point is there is so much interest in a mortgage, right? And this is what's free for you. If you own a house, you can go plug this in yourself. Go to fortheplan.com. You'll see a pay off early, click here plan, right? Just click it. We're not asking for any information off of it. However, I do want to give you more info on it. So go to For the Plan, get it on our newsletter. But look at this. It's going to say, as an example, $300,000 house, right? Let's just say you bought that today at 7% interest for 30 years fixed, going with the 30-year loan. And you said, hey, I'm going to budget $100 extra. It cuts off here. 4 years is 4.2 years is the number, right? $100 extra on a $300,000 loan at 7% cuts off 4 years. 4 years. It's a lot. More than that, right? The interest saved over the term of that loan is $69,000. Wow. Yeah, and it's a lot.
And there's another wow. So I when I think about that, I think 4 years. I mean, that's college tuition for your kids.
I think you're younger and some other people look at that's not that much. I'm getting older quicker than it is going down. So now you could double it, go $200. It'd be your 8.4 years, right? Yeah. But the number I want to hit, like when you're doing a $300,000 loan, you know, at 7%, the total interest you're going to be paying is $418,000. That's over the whole life of the loan, right? So this by just adding $100, you're now only paying $249,000 in interest.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference.
It cuts it down significantly, and I mean, estimated payment at this purchase price or at this loan amount of $300,000, right around $2,000. So pay $2,100 instead. You save yourself.
Now this doesn't include your tax insurance.
That is true. Yes.
Yeah. Correct. So we got to apple that in there, but it's big.
Yeah, that's a huge move when paying off the mortgage early.
You think $20 matters? Yes. 15, 20, 30, round up your mortgage. They do that at Wendy's, man. Round your own mortgage. And you know how they go in and you buy food, you're like, do you want to round it up? Sure.
Yeah, right.
They do it at the grocery store, right?
Yeah, like I round up mine to the nearest 100th. And it's
how much extra roughly goes per month then, do you know?
Extra 40, but when I look at I think $60 actually, but my budget, when I go and look at it, it's a flat payment every time. It's not
rounded up.
X amount and some change to the end of it. It's an exact number. So it looks better on my budget too, is why I do it.
Yeah,
also.
Right.
But
it's easier math.
Also saves me about 4 years too. So
yeah. So now let's look at this. So if you're listening, go to fortheplan.com, scroll down just a little bit under our little events that we have posted. You'll see a few different things we have going on. Summer series is just underneath what we're referring to, but you'll see a click now, pay here, early plan, pay off early plan, click it, and it'll take you to a free calculator. You just plug in what your mortgage amount is, right? What you owe on the house. When you got the loan, you can run this and put in your payment. It'll ask you for your payment dates and stuff. So you can actually dial this in really, really tight to get your actual number. So here's what I'd encourage you to do. At least put in $20.
I agree.
If you own a house, man, and you're listening to this, and you're not rounding up or at least putting some extra, I'm hoping that this part of the show, you buy in and you change your projection of what your retirement net worth. You've got it going down faster. We're saving $60,000, $70,000 and we're going up in appreciation. You're double compounding it, right?
Yeah, big exactly. Move. And this is what we're talking about when, like last segment, we were talking about 15-year versus 30.
Yeah, prepaying the extra.
Exactly.
Same concept.
So, I mean, I can't break down the math right now, but that's saving you 4 years, $100.
You could if you had a computer and
exactly.
you were at fortheplan.com.
Exactly
Yes, sir, you could. 704-412-2727 is our direct dial. If you're driving, that number goes by a little fast. Listen to this one, 855 for the plan. You can, if you know the letters on your numbers, we've talked, you don't even have that anymore. It seems like checking out the numbers. But go to fortheplan.com. All the links, everything you see there, you click it, it's taking you somewhere. We got house hacking. We've got investment seminars that come up. We've got investment property networking events coming up. Summer series is noted on there. We've got a couple cool properties that are on the site as well. Big discounts we covered last show. Big.
Yep.
Tell them about yours, man. You trumped mine by a lot.
Yeah, 2% seller paid closing costs for investors or really any buyers.
We got a couple calls off of that. People were listening and they're looking at other properties. That wasn't the one for them. Did anybody put an offer in on that yet?
I don't believe so. No, they had reached out to me and he said that he was going to get back to me either Monday or Tuesday. I haven't heard yet, but
do not wait.
Yep.
Do not wait.
Sounds like we got some hot buyers.
Yeah, and there's another one next to it, and both are new construction. One's a 2-unit, highly desired 2-unit that people. I think, man, we get a lot of calls on those from investors.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want the multifamily. And man, if you're moving into it, people will say, wow, $700,000, that's a lot of a house. Yeah. What if you move in?
Yeah.
What if you're the guy down in Charlotte paying a couple grand in rent, right? You move into half of this brand new unit, you rent the other half out. As you get that equity built up and you're prepaying, rounding up with the rent next door, because you got to pay the house payment anyway. You're rounding up with the house next door. So maybe a couple $100 is going to it. Maybe not a lot at first until we get you the 5-year rate protection refi deal. We'll come more on that. But man, think about what you just built with you own a 2-unit. Now you move out, you got how much equity built in and you're off and running.
Yeah.
Changes
exactly.
dynamics.
And I do want to add that there was a price reduction as well. It's $699 now. So just under that, just under that 14 grand. Exactly. Just under that 700. Also the neighborhood.
Can we do a buy down on the 2-unit?
Yeah.
Yeah. So listen to that. So if you've listened to one of our shows before, we've got other on the site. Do we have something on buy downs?
Yes, I believe so. So if you go to fortheplan.com and top right, you click login, you scroll down, you'll see
a buy down calculator.
Yes, there'll be a buy down calculator there.
So you can check that out. We should make it easier link for people to check out the buy down because, on that house there, given the 14 grand, they could get away with a 2-1 buy down.
Yep. Automatic.
Primary residence, 5% down.
Yeah.
So see, you automatically think, wow, that's out of my price range. Is it? How much rent's coming in next door? They'll run these numbers for you and see if it makes sense.
It's projected at 1,900 is what they're projecting.
So it's cutting it in half.
Yeah.
So it's like see here, would you rather have 400,000 invested at a return or 700?
Yeah. And that the neighborhood's going to appreciate like no other.
And you're only paying for 400.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Right. And then you round up and you're doing the spread like we're talking about with payoff early plan, man. We got some good stuff on the show today, buddy. We're getting it done. All right, let's get to these Google questions. We'll get a few of them here before our next break. Most Googled mortgage questions in 2024. This first one kind of throws me off, man. Who's Googling is what I want to know.
What is a down payment? First question.
Right.
That was the number one question. So,
like, dang, man, I'm thinking 101, but like, what's 100?
Yeah, right.
Like, this is beginner course here. What's a down payment? How come you wouldn't know that? Like, am I being funny or not? I'm not. Is this rude?
Well, I was thinking about that. Maybe you have never put down a down payment. Maybe
car.
Yeah, finance everything zero down.
Yeah,
I guess
they would ask though, like, hey, do you have a down payment if you're buying a car? Some people, is it traditional, would you say, that someone buys a house before they buy their first car? No. And I don't mean with like parents and stuff. Like you get a car when you were younger, we go get the car. I mean, like you move out of the house, you're renting a place.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't they ask for it? I guess it's not a down payment. They don't call the rent a down payment.
Maybe they're leasing the car too. So they're leasing a car, renting their apartment. So I mean, yeah, there is no need to know what a down payment is.
Maybe they're stupid. Maybe they're just not all there either. Is that I'm kidding. I don't even know who Googled this. Maybe what's a down payment? A down payment is what you put down on the purchase price.
Yep. So it's a percentage of the sales price that you're putting down. The more you put down, I think the better deal that you get. I mean, we do have zero down options. Typically come with a little bit more fees, but still a great opportunity to be able to get into a house.
And capture the equity as that appreciates. And I would prepay on something like that. Same concept. So use that calculator at fortheplan.com. All right, I'll quit being mean and let's go to, so what will my mortgage cover? That's kind of a trick question.
That's pretty broad.
Number 2 here. What will my mortgage cover?
I would say it would cover you living in it, you paying the bank back or buying it.
Yeah, that's a weird question. I wonder what kind of answer you get. I should have seen what did the Google reply?
Yeah, what does Google answer?
Like it seems kind of
pretty broad.
But the question is, so what will my mortgage cover? Well, the mortgage covers, right, and I'm going to take into account maybe the payment, right? It's going to cover the loan you have after your down payment. It's going to cover your loan. And then it's also typically, the mortgage doesn't cover it, but your mortgage payment typically will cover your taxes and insurance.
Yeah, true.
But I don't know about what your mortgage covers. I think of a lien. You have a lien on the house, so that mortgage is covering the house. It's a lien with the county.
I think you said it well. The mortgage covers anything that your down payment isn't. So $300,000 house, you're putting $30,000 down. Your mortgage is going to cover that $270,000 for you.
Yeah.
I think that's what they mean. That makes the most sense to me.
Maybe we'll Google it. We'll take a break here and see what they say. So, what will my mortgage cover? It's a trick question. But the next one is facts for potential home buyers. You want to go to fortheplan.com, scroll to the bottom, and check out our blog. I got all kinds of stuff on that for you. That will answer it because that's a lot of tips and checklists and different things like that. So we've got several more questions. It gets a little more intelligent as it goes down, I see.
Good.
Harder questions.
Good deal.
You know? But you're listening to Plan. We're just joking. If you didn't know a down payment, it's okay. It's no big deal. 704-412-2727. Go to fortheplan.com. Answering all your questions that Google might have. See you soon.
Welcome back to The Plan. This is Jacob Roche here with the mortgage planner, Brad Roche.
You are too, man.
Yep, I am the mortgage planner. That's
we are
our
the
group.
mortgage planners. fortheplan.com. Check us out. Google questions, buddy.
Yep.
What's the next one? I got this. Go ahead. Stomp me. I dare you.
What is the rate? Or I'm sorry. Sorry, it's small. What is the rate lock period?
That's another multiple choice question, I would say, or multiple answers. 15-day, typical.
Yeah.
30-day.
Most common.
40, yeah, most common. 45-day lock.
60, 90.
And you can get up to 120, 180. It goes on. More programs open up to more locks, which is be your construction piece. So would I lock in a construction loan right now? No.
Yeah, I
wouldn't
agree.
be concerned about that.
As they say rates are coming down.
We're moving in the right direction. 6-month low. So no, you're not a concern about that. Price is going up. Yeah, lock in the price. Don't lock in the rate right now.
I think the reason why is because one, rates are coming down, but two, it's also more expensive.
Well, people will say, to what? Lock in that. Oh,
yes.
the longer you lock, great point.
More points you're paying. So 15-day lock, you're not paying nearly as many points as if
or
you're
any.
doing.
You have a no option.
True.
The cost for the longer lock is more.
Yeah, that when I refer to cost, I mean paying in points. So like if a 7%, we're at a 15-day right now, let's say, no point option. Maybe a 120-day lock could be 7 with a point.
Right.
So yeah, I think that
and in between that, it would be like maybe a quarter point, a half point. There's lots of in-betweens, all that for the lock. So the best one you can get is hire a professional, to monitor this. You do your full-time job and hire somebody who's actually watching the market some and knows what they're doing.
Yeah. What markets to watch? 10-year Treasury, 30 MBS.
fortheplan.com. Have I told you that today?
Yep. All that info's there too.
But that's where we're going to help you. You got to hire somebody to watch that and bring you up to speed. We'll bring you up to speed on what we think it's doing. Now people say, well, why don't I lock in and can't they lower it?
A float to lock.
Yeah.
A lot of people do ask
float
about that.
Down option.
Yeah, float down option.
All that really is a renegotiation.
Yeah.
With the lender when you lock the loan, and and that goes for anyone really. It's a promotion. They have certain criteria you have to hit in order to lower it. Can't just lower it. Most don't see. So here's that's a trick question. Do you have a lock and lower? Oh, I locked in my rate and I have a free float down. What's the criteria to float down? No one asks that.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Because on some locks that we have, you have to drop down 50 basis points, 100 basis points. What's that to you? A lot.
Yeah, that's a ton.
We haven't even done that in the last 6 months, calling it a 6-month low.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to lower because it didn't do enough lowering.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a good way to put it.
Have a 30-day lock is normal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's most common.
Fortheplan.com is the right choice for someone watching the market for you.
Yes, sir.
All right, move on. I'm done pitching it. Okay. Can I afford a home? Well, see, I thought we were done with some of these dumb... No, I'm kidding. But people don't know how to qualify. That's what they're asking.
Yeah.
Is how do I qualify for a home? You run the qualifications. There's some free calculators out that you can use. I don't have anything like that on our website. I don't believe we have anything like, what do I qualify for? But we'd have a conversation with you. I think you need to run through the numbers. Here, let's talk about the lady who we just approved yesterday. We were looking at her file, and you remember, she wanted to buy 225, was it? Sale price?
Yep.
225,000. We won't say her name. Let's call her Peggy. Want to call her Peggy? All right.
Peggy.
We'll pick Peggy what?
White.
Peggy White?
Yeah, why not?
All right, Peggy White, she applied for $225,000, right? And with Peggy's deal, she didn't qualify. We ran her number, didn't qualify.
Yeah.
But she had $15,000 in savings. And when you looked at that, on a 225 loan, 3% down, she only needed about $7,000. I'm off the hip right now.
Yeah.
So she's going to have some money left over, which is an exact goal I'd love you to have, some security left over money after you purchase. Well, she also, if I do it the way she was doing it, meaning the debt ratio that I have, she doesn't qualify for that 225, even with her 15 grand. Ratios were too high. But she has one debt, a couple of them, but one in particular she could pay off for $5,000, saved her $280 a month.
Yep.
That got her the purchase price. Because if she doesn't do that, by paying that off, that got her the purchase price. But if she doesn't do that, she won't have the option. She was like stuck at 160, 165 sale price, not the house she wanted. So well, you can get, it's hard to answer, what do I qualify for?
Also, on that example, we had also negotiated in...
That's live. That ain't no example, buddy. That was a true story.
Yeah, it is. So that's, but we also, how you're saying you paid off $5,000 in debt, we got $5,000 in seller paid closing costs. So really, we're moving.
Yeah, why? Boom, right there. That's because they're dealing with the mortgage planners right there. Yep. See, we just wrapped in basically her debt by negotiating it in the sale price.
Yeah, exactly.
She could have came in with her closing costs. She has the money. How do we up that deal for her? Man, what a move financially for her from A to B buying a house.
So yeah, I was on a call with her and her realtor, and she said, well, I think we're going to negotiate down the price, $5,000. Yeah. And I said, why not just get in seller credit so you don't have to pay, quote unquote, for your debt? And we're moving the money around similar way. You're still paying it, but then she's not paying closing costs now. So just moving it around.
Same money to her, brother.
Exactly.
But it's not when you run the monthly. Yeah. It's just not. She's up to it. Not only, okay, let's talk, we're qualifying her, right? I got her qualified. I get that. That helped her qualify. But she also, to her little U Inc., her business, which is her personal budget, she's up $280 buying this house. Yeah. Right? The payment is not much different for her on the house that she was looking at. She was okay with the payment. Yeah, you're right. Including with the debt. So because I couldn't qualify her, and even if we could, maybe that's the right move you should make. So do you know your situation? Would you like to get a little bit more in depth? Go to fortheplan.com. Check us out or call 704-412-2727. Can I afford a house? Boom, man. We went all the way around the block with that. Yeah. That was good. Okay. Mortgage processing fee. I call it a junk fee. Yeah, but I agree. You have to pay the house to do some stuff like underwriting, processing, commitment. There's a few fees that lenders charge. The typical fees for a lender are about $1,000 to $1,900. Yeah, I'd say $1,900. Yeah, I would say that's common. $1,019, and these are not points. These are or buying the rate or anything to do with the rate. These are fees. Yeah, right. The cost to get the mortgage. And every lender typically charges them. If they don't, they're usually putting the rate a little higher, padding it in somehow to pay it. Yeah, yeah. We can always like we had discussed in a previous show, raising the interest rate some, so then we can give a lender credit to pay for any of those costs. Right. So when you see why would someone do that? Raise the rate to pay some costs. Less out of pocket. We're running the numbers for them, right? Yeah, less cash to close for them. Well, but we're also running the numbers. Like, do you want to put in, $5,000 in closing costs if you're going to refinance this quick and have to do it again, or you're getting a rate pledge deal that we have out there for 5 years for our clients to come back at a minimum cost to refinance? All of these things, it's not a one answer, Yeah. That's where it's like consultation is important. And we do those on the screen. So if you were to call us in, we typically jump on a screen with you, a Zoom call or Teams call or FaceTime call. There's just so many options to a mortgage. I mean, there's mortgage insurance where you can split paid PMI, or you can buy down the interest rate, or like we're saying, we can give a lender credit or do a 2-1 buy down with seller paid closing costs. I could go on and on about the different things that we can do with it. So I get a plan. You got to hear the story. We want to hear the story. Yeah. fortheplan.com. Don't type your story in there. You got to call us. We'll match your goals as close as we can. Did I miss any of those FaceTime things? I went off like 3 different things. That's true. But we're going to look at you, and we're going to share a screen with you mainly so you can see them next to each other. Yep. We're going to narrow the options. Not a one size fits all. You got goals. We want to fit them. And the mortgage process allows us to do that. 704-412-2727 direct dial. Next one is, what are closing costs? We just went through a lot of that. Lender has theirs, $15,000 to $2,000. Then you have your title company. Then you have your law fees and closing fees, recording fees, appraisal fee. All of that's included. Here's what I'm going to answer this one. You ready? go to Mortgage Planner University. It's at fortheplan.com. You'll get 6 hours of that breakdown.
I was going to say, it sounds familiar, us talking about closing costs.
Yeah, we did a whole show on that one. So you could check that out and know what to pay, what not to pay, what's negotiable, what's not negotiable. Next one's what's a credit score? What is a credit score? They don't even want to know if it's good. They just want to know what it is. It's BS, man. It's kind of these algorithms, best way I'll explain it, algorithms in the back room are judging your credit based on balances to limits, to late payments, to collections, to inquiries. It's overall. If you haven't had your credit pulled and you're interested in buying a house, go to our website, fortheplan.com, get a hold of us. We'll do what's called a soft pull. Little bit better than what you're getting on the credit card because it's mortgage related. We'll be able to pair you into something, at least get a sniff around a little bit before it hits a credit. And we'd be happy to do that as a listener. That's free to you as well. Go to fortheplan.com and check us out. 704-412-2727. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to wrap up some of these questions. And I thought I said it was getting better. It might be. We'll be back. Welcome back to the plan. This is Brad Roche, the Mortgage Planner, and man, we're off to how to pay off early. Just like I was coming on the mic a little early, we're paying off loans early. You know what I'm saying? Go to fortheplan.com. Click that button, pay off early plan, and free calculator in there. Don't have to give up any information. You can do it all incognito.
Yep.
But get a good plan incognito and stick to it.
Yeah, save yourself some money on interest.
Yeah, man, a lot. 60, 70,000, 300 grand.
Yeah, not some.
Chipping $100. Yeah, right. So credit score, we talked a little bit about that. Next one, man, I don't even want to answer that one.
What is APR?
Yeah, I don't know. That's just a terrible. Okay. I'll explain it easy, right? Let's not over. You want to try it?
I was going to say
it used to be the hardest question. I used to have it back in the day, dude. I had a form printed out like this is what this means. Hard to explain.
I always say just go off of your interest rate. This is it's a percentage of all the costs included with the mortgage as well. But at the same time, you see all the fees in the loan estimate. You see how many points. You see lender origination charge, attorney fees, prepaid. You see all those listed out. So I always say go with your interest rate.
Okay, agree. Well, here, I'm going to try and explain it the cleanest way I can do it. For average Joe listener, I'm going to explain it because this goes with cars, buying a car, what's your APR. It does play a part, and it does have to do with the closing costs, right? What fees you're being charged. So the easiest way for me to explain APR would be is when we take let's use this. Remember, we were talking about a $300,000 loan at 7%. Okay, if let's say I gave you that loan for free.
Yeah.
What's your APR? 7%.
Yeah.
Same. It's the same as what I just told you. Now let's say I'm charging you $3,000 for that loan. I'm going to take and run it in the calculator. I'm going to take your loan amount. I'm going to add those fees to it. Same term, 30-year, and it's going to spit out a different rate.
The APR.
That's your APR.
Yeah.
So really what it's doing is it's adding your closing costs onto the loan you're getting and saying this is what you're really paying when you account for the closing costs. So why is this important? Why do they think it's important? Because if I go to place A, let's say I'm buying a car at place A and place B, two different loans, right? And the APRs are the different.
Yeah.
One's higher, one's lower. It's either going to be the rate you're paying back the loan, right? That 7%, or it's going to be they're charging you a boatload of closing costs.
Yeah.
Or more costs than the other one. So APR, if you're apple to apple, you're paying, it takes into account all the fees plus the rate you're getting on the loan, car, mortgage, any of this crap, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's cool. Now, it ain't always the best one. You don't always go with the lowest one.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, because sometimes they suck. They're not any good. And you get what you pay for. That APR, it's like if an attorney had an APR, right, as their fee. Well, what's your APR? You don't want to go with the cheapest attorney if you got in a car accident.
True.
I want to get someone who's going to represent me well. You're doing the same with a mortgage and car and things like that. So, but it is okay to look at it and question it and know what the current market is.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I had seen on a loan estimate, somebody went to XYZ Mortgage versus us, and I saw
their such thing. Tell the real name. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We don't do that. No, Peggy White Lending. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So I think that their APR was significantly higher than us, and it's because they were charging so many fees. But the borrower said, "But their interest rate is better."
I bet it is. That's exactly why.
That's why it is.
That's
it's because
exactly why.
They're charging more points, more in general.
And what I'd tell you to do is look at how long if you're paying more in costs, how long does it take you to get that money back? Just because you're getting a lower rate doesn't always make sense.
Exactly. Like if you're going to refinance in 6 months, those are going to be lost costs.
Yeah, it will be.
Yep.
Even a year. I could work. We work out the numbers. When you call us, when we're jumping on the screen like we were talking about last segment, we're going over comparisons on this and how to win on this mortgage.
Yeah.
You want to win? 704-412-2727. Go to fortheplan.com, the number 4, or you can type it out. FOR. Just go to fortheplan.com. Google us too. You can do that. These are all questions from Google, by the way, that we've been covering. So don't think we came up with these on our own. Some of these people typing these in, I'm not sure about, but let's go to another one here.
All right. What is mortgage insurance?
You got this. Go ahead.
You're putting less than 20% down on conventional. Now, if you're going FHA, it is a set standard for everybody if you're putting minimum down. And then I believe the more that you put down on the FHA, the lower that it gets. Not significantly, but it's FHA has mortgage insurance the entire life of the loan, where conventional, 20% equity in the house, you won't have mortgage insurance.
Now, see, this brings up an interesting debate, okay, because on mortgage insurance, because you're bringing up FHA, and FHA, like you said, it never comes off, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the other loans, conventional, they come off when you have 20% equity. They will officially fall off at 78 unless you request it.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, so the real answer is 78%. You can request it at 80% with an updated value, things like that. But as you look at the position on this, I think it's a huge part of knowing the numbers on all of this as well.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean in that regard?
Well, when you run the house, like look at the question. What was the question we're going over?
What is mortgage insurance?
Right. So when you look at the numbers on the mortgage insurance, are you looking at all the options that are available to you, whether you can do lender paid or not? But when you compare it to an FHA is what I'm talking about. When you look at an FHA loan and you say, well, it's on there for the life of the loan, the other one comes off. What is the effective rate on the FHA loan if you ran it like I just talked about backwards? Took me a minute to get there, but you following me?
Yeah.
So if you went backwards and said, okay, well, because FHA has better rates. We just said it earlier in the show.
Yeah, almost on the 5s.
Yeah, but the PMI is there forever. Well, if you take the PMI, run the same payment plus that rate, what is the rate you're paying? And just don't call it PMI. It's the same fees.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And also,
it's kind of a hard way to explain it.
No, I get where you're going with it. And also, what's the chances of you refinancing in the next
get out of the FHA, possibly. Yeah, you may end up doing that. But see, my point is you may not refinance just to get out of the FHA PMI insurance. It's called mortgage insurance premium, but you may not refinance just to get out of that, because what if the rate with that, like let's say you got, maybe I'll say it different. Let's say you got 6% on an FHA plus mortgage insurance. Your effective rate, if we called the mortgage insurance interest, is 6.5, like a half a point more.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't want to refinance unless you're getting a better rate than 5.5. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You look at it a hair different, and not just as PMI. Overall payment, I would say, when you're comparing that.
Well, also, when we were...
deep on that, didn't I? Well, I lost myself in all that, man. Woo, welcome back.
Well, I was thinking about, like, I've looked at an application, 700 credit score, which is great. Their debt-to-income ratio's 45, which is seen a little high for conventional. Now, as I was saying, there's a set standard for FHA. It's 0.55% monthly. Sometimes mortgage insurance will come back on conventional when your debt-to-income ratios are high. So maybe it'll come back at almost double.
We talked about that on the university shows too.
Yeah. So maybe sometimes if payment means everything to you, and you FHA may be the better option. Lower interest rate. There's a set standard for mortgage insurance. So if conventional is great, but at the same time, it matters a lot where your goals are at as well. I
would agree. And I went FHA the first time. And the other part is you can have the seller pay more if you're a first-time home buyer on that program. So that helps, especially with the buy downs. Let's go to a different question. That one really threw me I got deep into that one. Let's go. I like this one. Do mortgage rates change daily?
Oh, yeah.
Hourly?
Daily.
Minutely?
Yeah. Of the week.
Minutely, yeah. they move minutely. But yeah, they do move. Now, I will tell you, credit unions set their rate for a week or two at a time.
Yeah, they do.
So if you're listening, I'm not trying to push business elsewhere, but like if rates went up over the last 2 weeks and you call a credit union, they'll probably be a little lower.
Yeah.
But you better lock in.
When I went and got a car at the credit union, or car loan at the credit union, they said 5.9. for my car.
But they'll run that for a while, even if the market moves.
They didn't even pull my credit yet.
Oh,
they just told me, there you go.
You look
There's where we're at.
You look credit worthy.
Thank you.
Maybe that's
nice.
private. So watch what you wear when you go in for a loan. 704-412-2727, our direct dial. Go to fortheplan.com. How much can I borrow? I think we kind of covered that. You got to run the numbers. Like that lady would have been, someone could have answered her and said, oh, you're stuck at 175 sale price. Remember Peggy White?
Yeah.
But because we paid off her debt, she can get the house she wants now. And it is better money to her monthly.
But also there's some things that we can do, like what I was saying, like the set standard with mortgage insurance. If you bring down your mortgage insurance, you can qualify for more. What if there's in the mortgage industry, if there's less than 10 payments on an installment, we don't have to include that in your total debt to income ratio. So
that helps you qualify.
I would say hire a professional. Run the numbers on your own. Yes, see what you can qualify. But at the same time, there are things that we can do.
I'm going to answer this one. Look at this one. This tee me up. Why don't you Google, should I buy or should I rent? Come on. You know, it depends your situation. It really does. Like when you first moved here back out of college, it wasn't like running and buy a house right away. Some people have a different path.
Yeah, there was no way.
It's too quick. You wanted to make sure, do I want to be down in Charlotte? Do I want to be up at Lake Norman? You got to look at where you want to live. You know? Or down in South Carolina as well.
Absolutely.
You know, so I'd have had you bring me gas if you were living down there.
Yeah, right.
Hey, bring me up a couple tanks, man. I hear it's cheaper down there.
Gas and fireworks.
Interesting in South Carolina from an investor standpoint is, they have homestead taxes, which means they charge more for investors than your property taxes.
Yep.
And it's more standard here. We had a couple people interested. They were questioning how that all worked that were coming from out of state invest in properties.
I had a client that was VA and insurance. I think it was a $300,000 house. Insurance came back at almost $400 a month. And
wow.
That's what I said when I saw it. So it made him not qualify. But we went back and he was actually VA disabled, so we were able to waive that.
You talking about taxes or insurance?
Taxes.
Taxes. Okay. I thought you said insurance. Yeah. So taxes can be a huge piece. And if you have a disability as a veteran or on disability, you do get a discount on the insurance. We've helped a lot of clients with that too. That's a reduced rate on your property taxes.
Like earlier in the show, that's why we said, make sure you go to somebody that's done a VA mortgage before.
Yeah.
Experience with it.
Maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah.
704-412-2727 is our direct dial. So we've been covering Google questions. I'm sure Google has several more. But as you know, a lot of these questions have been, I don't want to call them basic, but some of them, you can get a lot of this from Mortgage Planner University. Go to fortheplan.com. Check that out. We've got 6 hours unplugged training for you, free. We'll ask you how you did. We're going to ask you for your information. Here's why. I want to say, how'd we do? Did you learn something from it? Could we done something better? And when you complete the course, make sure you print that registered form for $500 off closing costs. You get that as our gift for listening to us for 6 hours and being committed to saving money and buying a house the right way.
We love the feedback. So please let us know. Yeah, it's been great.
You've been listening to Plan. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next show.